We are in Florence for this meeting because of the ownership by NYU of about 35 sculptures depicting Africans in different contexts with various meanings, but commonly brought together under the decorative art category of blackamoors. They are part of the overall collection of about 6,000 objects in NYU's Villa La Pietra. In general, these objects are viewed as unimportant pieces of decorative art whose function is to provide frame for the more important works of art with which they're displayed. Though they're generally not read as depicting Africans as subject of history, blackamoors exist within a complicated history of exchange between Italy and Africa. And the 21st century, Italy struggling with a new influx of Africans migrating to Italy. The context is never neutral.
Florence, in my opinion, is a city that, compared to other cities in Italy, has a privileged position towards issues like immigrations. You know that in Italy now this is a big issue. It's a European problem, but we shouldn't live it as a problem. We should live it as a resource. And Florence is probably, for its past, its tradition in civil rights and human rights since 1700s, is a little bit more, I would say, advanced, pass me the expression, in receiving these events and also understanding the importance and the relevance. We had really immediate support for what we needed for the locations. This is a city museum, and it's important. I wanted, when Ellen asked me, please look, let's start looking for locations, my choice went through the most critical buildings that could actually symbolize something. Because in this way, we also establish a bonding with the administration, with politics, and culture becomes a political message. Because culture, art, is always committed.
It's a really rare opportunity to have both the exhibition and this 200 scholars of this material, scholars and artists, together at the same time in Florence, in a place known for confronting history, being a center of historical inquiry. It's a wonderful place to have a difficult conversation.
The next question was, if you get all of these works together, what kind of stories are you going to tell? And how are you going to tell the stories? Because it's the venue also determined the way we would tell the story. And I wanted a situation where we can read the past through the present. And that's why the term resignifications came about, that these things signify a particular historical period. Although we don't belong to those historical periods, our immediate still has resonances, especially in an Italy where thousands are on boats trying to come here, or there are thousands who live here but are not representable in classical art, except as blackamoors.
This is a really, really important exhibition, and it's wonderful that it's here in Florence, where you have the tradition and the images of the European blackamoors, which I guess many feel are quite objectifying images. So in contrast to that, Awam has brought together a number of artists, including myself, that are coming from a very different perspective, which is one of empowerment and elevation. So it celebrates this new generation of photographers who have chosen to use their art to actually make a change and to influence people's perspectives. So it's a very dynamic and incredible exhibition.
My name is Omar Victor Diop. I'm Senegalese. I'm presenting a few self-portraits of this series called Project Diaspora, in which basically I reenact portraits of the early examples of the African diaspora, former slaves, diplomats, traders, who all have in common this thing that they made it to the highest levels of the European societies in which they lived, despite all the challenges that they had to face as Africans, racism, prejudice, exclusion. And basically, it's my way to sort of contribute to the current conversation on the role and influence of Africa and Africans in the world. And it's also a way for me to challenge the perceptions that people have, including the Africans, on what the African traveler has brought to the world.
Me chamo Flávio Cerqueira, sou de São Paulo, Brasil, e eu vou apresentar na exposição dois trabalhos. Um que chama Pretexto para Te Encontrar, que é uma escultura de um menino com os balões, com um anseio de voo, e a outra se chama Antes que eu me esqueça, que é um garoto contra um espelho beijando seu próprio reflexo, que é uma escultura de bronze pintada de branco para simular essa fragilidade da porcelana. E a outra é o bronze aparente, com esse anseio de voo. Então tem uma metáfora da pessoa de ansiar novos voos, sabe, de outros caminhos para onde podemos ir e voltar. Vivendo nesse país de mistura, então isso acaba sendo, de certa forma, transparecendo, porque é o seu local de viver, é onde você vive, é onde você trabalha, são suas relações com o mundo. E, de outra forma, do artista ele não ser um cidadão de um lugar, ele é um cidadão do mundo, porque o trabalho, a arte, ela conecta com pessoas independente da língua, então ela quebra essa barreira do idioma e das classes.
As an artist, I'm interested in expanding my practice and engaging with people in as many ways as possible to encourage them to think twice about things that they have already seen, that they think they already know about, and that they think aren't important. I think it's important to investigate the things that we overlooked, because sometimes in the second and third and fourth looking, we find something completely new.
Humanity is growing up, not fast enough though, but some people faster than others. It makes sense to me that we hear stories from everywhere. It's important that we engage with people from different cultures. It only makes us better.
I think it's very interesting, to be in an exhibition that you have people talking like how the Occidental world sees the other, the one that was always considered the other, and how the others talked about this notion of mirrors. We don't exist if the other isn't there.
My hope is that projects like this will open up dialogues and conversations even when they're difficult and awkward. And art becomes the vehicle for doing that, and it builds a broader community who are making meanings of history through the art.